Stephen here, and I'm here with Adrian. Jason, unfortunately, is not with us. He is in India right now. He now lives in India, so he's actually like fast asleep at the moment. We didn't schedule this at a very optimal time for him, but he sends his good will to everyone.
He's somewhere
in
the mountains exploring and doing research. Mountain research.
Yeah, I saw a couple of old mountain pictures he made the other day.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so we also didn't get the memo about a monthly contest if there was one this month. So whoever's running the monthly contests on the forums, if there was one and somebody won, they will reach out to you via the forums. But we won't announce them today on this update just because we weren't in the loop on it. Maybe that was our fault. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's my fault.
But yeah, so it's your fault. Right.
It's Adrian's my fault. Anything that goes wrong is my fault. That's my role.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. I didn't know that. I'll remember that when things go wrong.
Yeah.
Let's just jump straight in and show off some cool features.
Yeah. Okay. Hopefully nothing breaks. I made last-minute changes, which is never a good thing, but doesn't.
Well, that one definitely will be your fault.
Yeah. Thanks. It's good to have some encouragement.
All right, so I think at the end of last month we promised that there'd be some water, and I think we even said some rain, and we definitely have both of those. So yeah, why don't you show off some cool water stuff?
Cool. Yeah. So we now have water. This spell book is going. It drives me crazy how bad all this interface is. So at some point we'll be going through and cleaning this all up. But we now have water magic. It's another list in here. So let's start with add water. So if we open up here, we got our sweet spell, and this will just set water to activate it, and it takes 2 water mana per second. You can see that this spell doesn't use earth mana, it only uses water mana.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll start it up and I'll shoot it right there. You can see the water orb comes out. And shoot a couple of these and start creating some sweet pool of water right here.
Whoa, that is a sweet pool of water.
And we heavily optimized the water simulation and rewrote it to scale so that we can have it work on large maps and actually not get all slow. You'll notice that some of the water, it seems to be disappearing. Swimming is back also, which is nice. Still don't have an animation, but you know, it's swimmy. So you can see that the water is disappearing over time, and the reason is that it is evaporating, which we can talk about in a little bit. But why don't we run around for a little bit? So there's actually springs set up all over the map now. So there's one over there.
Sweet.
See, and that's creating pools of water over there. If we come over, I'll just jog it. I'm getting lazy. So we can see.
Yeah, you burn some calories.
The pool is the spring is creating this cool pool of water over here, and we can swim in this little lake it created. And
that's awesome.
If we run around in the map, we'll find other springs, and you'll see it start generating other more like lakes and stuff like that. There's still no flow, so our goal right now is to get everything to a first pass state. So we wanted to get the water in and working efficiently, and we'll add features to the water later on. It's a cool nebula coming as the time of day changes. And Jason did some sweet lighting changes as well.
Is it a star inside the nebula, or there's something kind of something bright there?
I don't know. I guess
we'd have to ask Jason.
Yeah, I think Jason. So you can see that a lot of water is collecting around there.
Now, is that rain? Am I seeing
Yeah,
rain in the
yeah,
distance?
yeah. So there is rain forming. All of this is super early effects. It looks kind of awful, um, but at least to me and Jason, it looks awful. So
Y'all have high standards. I think it
well,
looks cool.
it is cool that it's happening at least. So that's very exciting. You can see another spring over there. Some visual artifacts of the water, which we'll clean up, but. Like I was saying, the first thing that we wanted to do is just get water working, and now we have an efficient way of creating the water across the whole map. And now that we have that, we can... Oh, there's some sweet stars. Now that we have
Oh, yeah.
that, we can start iterating on the water, and, well, once we get the fire and the air, we can come back to water, and we want to add stuff like, potentially like a lifted state for water, where it'd be like a glob of water that you can create that then lands on the ground and creates more water and stuff like that. So we'll be coming back to that later on, but for now, this is a good first pass so that we can at least do some water stuff. And you can also see that there's some foliage that's starting to form over here. So what's happening is I'm going to turn on a debug thing. So if you click tilde, you can see some very, very nicely informative information here. This is probably only readable by me, but it tells you which direction you're facing. The heat can go from 0 to 1. So over here, the heat, it's pretty hot in the south. So the heat around here is about 0.7, and that's from 0 to 1. And depending on the heat and humidity in a region, foliage will gain and lose health. So there's actually two types of foliage here. There's this fern and this grass. And both meet the conditions in this area because it's very hot and very humid. So they're starting to generate now.
Now it's hot.
Yeah.
So is it hot just because the south is hot and it's humid because the water is evaporating?
Yes, yeah. So it's almost like, so we don't have any plants that can really grow in the north yet, but it's very easy to add those in. We just kind of need to set up the variables and put all that in. And but yeah, so the idea is that in the south it's hot, and these springs are creating pools of water that are creating this foliage. And those artifacts we'll be cleaning up later and stuff like that. But
so if you create a bunch of water in the north, does it evaporate?
It will evaporate, but very slowly. So you can actually go north. I have some trouble orienting myself. It's a very large map. It takes a while to travel even. Oh, this is a sweet lake over here. Look at that lake. Pretty.
Oh yeah.
It's really pretty. There's a cool temple over here. So as we go north, you'll see that the heat is dropping, and this water, that shouldn't have happened, but there's a cool waterfall getting created right there, from this water coming down, and it streams all the way down here.
Oh my god, it's awesome.
And yeah, you'll see that since we're very far north, this water is just kind of collecting here. And like I said, there's no foliage right now that will grow with such little humidity. So this water is just kind of stale and doesn't do anything here. So this will just kind of collect, and then eventually it just falls off the edge of the world and just loses some of the water. So if we were to leave this for a while, it would fill up to the point where it just start falling off the edge into what Jason and I call the death zone. So
yeah, because I guess so. There's like clouds down there. Because at one point we had thought that you're going to be on a floating island, and actually, is that still true, or are you on just a huge floating island? I can't remember what the status of floating islands is.
At some point, I don't know, we flip-flop every day. Jason and I were talking about potentially making them floating islands again. and having like a surface at the bottom. But the idea is that they are distinct regions that have they're distinct regions that are separated by this uninhabitable region that you can't go in, but certain creatures can. So
Yeah.
that makes some tech things easier, but it's also just kind of a fun gameplay thing to think about these creatures that can travel in ways that you cannot.
Right.
So,
Like through the void.
yeah. So here's something interesting. So I have this spell that can set the humidity in this region. So you'll see that the humidity isn't coming up in here. So I can just start doing this, and you'll see that it'll start creating the foliage around me, and that'll sustain that humidity for a while. But now, after my thing goes away, the humidity will start decaying, so this foliage will slowly start disappearing back out. So it's still in a sustainable thing, which is why it's still increasing. But now, as it drops, hopefully I didn't make any crazy changes, but as it drops, it should start disappearing. You should start seeing less foliage. So yeah,
And
you can see that
we're still in the north now, right? This is
yeah,
so
and you
so
can see the
naturally
foliage.
nothing grows here.
Yeah, and
But you make it.
yeah. So you can see that the foliage is slowly starting to disappear. It takes longer for it to disappear than to appear. All of those variables we have to tweak, and we'll open those up also for players to mess with themselves. And obviously we need an effect to transition between the states of how healthy foliage is, but you can see it all working there. So I don't feel like swimming.
So what is next? What I mean, last month we said this coming month is going to be about water, and so there's water both on the ground and as rain. What is next month about?
So this month we also worked a lot on fire stuff. So fire is the first thing we'll be finishing up. It's at an okay state, so I want to get a first pass of fire done as soon as possible. But that'll be the first thing that we tackle over the next couple of days, and then after that we're basically setting up for the beta. So we have a lot of work to do in terms of getting fire ready, and then we also want to set up at least the preliminary aspects of, is it cool or waterfall? The preliminary aspects of air magic, which, like we've said, will be a lot about sensing. So that'll be our first pass of it, and obviously we can add more features, but we want to have all the elements done for the beta, at least in their initial states, and that way we can start iterating and creating new Blockly features and new coding constructs so that people can start creating that stuff. And we'll also be working on a mini game for the beta, so there's a lot to do. But yeah, the main goal is to get a decent pass of fire, which is close, and then a very rough pass of air, which has not really been started. And then we'll work on the mini game for the beta. So
one thing I may have missed this, but does the rain, when it falls, does it create more water on the ground?
Yeah, it does. So let me travel over there. Just travel across this world and hang out over here. Looks like it's raining over there.
Yeah. I love how you can tell from afar whether it's raining in a place. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, the main thing we wanted was for it to be clear. So, like I said, we're not super concerned with it looking fantastic just yet. The main thing is we just want all these things to be very clear. So I think it's nice. I'm pretty happy with the way that foliage looks after time has passed. The in-between states look very wonky, so we'll have to work on that. But once the foliage is there and it looks pretty cool. So pretty happy with that. But yeah, you can see that there's water falling on the ground and it's rolling down into there because it's raining here.
Oh, sweet! Yeah, very
so
cool.
We can make it rain faster.
So you're making more water, which is going to raise the humidity level, which will make it rain faster?
Yeah, I could have just raised the humidity level, but I just...
Oh, yeah.
I felt like doing it this way. Doesn't have too much mana, so yeah, I mean, one of the interesting things is that it doesn't really create more water, and in fact it loses some water in the process. But you can see how it kind of distributes water, so that in some places it's more like rivers, and in other places it's more like just everywhere it's kind of wet. Like here it's not creating any super deep pools of water, it's just kind of wet and marshy everywhere, which is pretty interesting.
And that's because of the that's just because of the terrain, right?
Yeah, well, it's because it's hot also. So the water is just evaporating. It's creating this cycle of rain that then spreads out the water over a region. And yeah, the terrain is set up to be fairly flat, so it doesn't funnel down into a single section, but it also kind of stops it from going too far off just rolling, because it could still keep rolling down this way if it filled up, but it's not letting it fill up, so it just creates this pool there.
I see.
So there's still some pretty serious visual artifacts of the water that I want to get to at some point over the next month also, but at least for now it's all usable and playable in that way. I just feel like pulling a rock right now.
We haven't pulled rocks in a long time. Can you still deform the terrain too? Is that possible?
Yeah. I can do this. It's actually pretty fun with the water, so I can make a pool over there.
So you could make a moat pretty easily. I think you were telling me that you were making the deformation more efficient.
Yeah, it's a little more efficient. It's not. It should be about the same as it was before, because the whole for various technical reasons, but it does hitch a little bit still, and I'll come back to that at some point. But you can see a cool little.
Oh yeah.
Valley right there. Lead it back.
That is awesome. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that is so cool. So I think it's time to take questions, at least for the next
Oh man, I haven't
5
even
minutes or so.
looked at the Twitch questions at all.
I've been keeping my eye on it. There's a cool, lively conversation going on. I haven't seen any particular questions for us, and I know there are not that many people online right now, so maybe there won't be any questions. But if there are, now would be the time. If any of you have burning questions, if you would like to know what we ate for lunch, you could ask that.
I don't remember.
I ate. Oh, I skipped lunch actually.
I had leftovers. Pretty good.
I'm also skimming through to see if I missed some questions. There could definitely have been something that came through. Some clever puns.
Oh, wait.
Okay. Oh, Okay, so I think we got a question for people in the chat. Last April, you guys asked if we wanted life magic first or multiplayer, and I was wondering what the chat thought about that. Baxter says multiplayer over life. Actually, this is interesting. I'm curious about this too.
Yeah, so the plan originally proposed in the Kickstarter was to do multiplayer first.
Right.
So, I mean, I think it could go either way. I mean, I
All right,
think
we got at least 4 votes for multiplayer, so
yeah,
take that into definite consideration.
yeah.
I think that's
mean,
kind of my leaning as well. But
I think yeah. So the main thing that we want to do is make it. The main goal is to make it so that you can make a lot of content easily. And seeing how people use eval and stuff, it'll be much easier for people to hack behaviors for creatures before being able to hack multiplayer. So I think it makes more sense for us to just make content tools in multiplayer, and then we can come back to life when we're farther along.
right.
Because there's a lot you can do with multiplayer. Not that there's not with life, but it is a bigger system, and technically I would actually like to figure out multiplayer as soon as possible. So.
Well, Baxter has a question. Did you figure out why he can't copy and paste on OS X?
I don't. I haven't had any trouble with it. I've been trying to recreate it, but I haven't been able to. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look into some coherent UI stuff.
It's weird because I use OS X too, and I haven't noticed any copy paste problems.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's only with the coherent UI like eval copying, but I really don't. I don't know.
Right.
I tried to reproduce it for a little bit, and I could not. So I'll look into it some more later. But I have to do some stuff with coherent UI anyway.
So the answer is not yet, but yeah, we are going to be digging into the whole Blockly interface pretty extensively at some point, at least before the final release. So
yeah.
Have you guys thought about releasing the beta on Steam Early Access?
We have. We actually thought about releasing the alpha on Steam Early Access. We didn't feel like it was ready for it. I don't know. I think that's more of a. That's something I'll have to talk to Lindsay about also. But there's. It's possible that we will do that. I think there's a lot of things in first putting it up on early access where we would kind of want to make a marketing push, and make it like actually show off that it's on there and stuff. So I think in some ways it depends on if we have time to set that all up and be prepared to have a larger, potentially more people playing it. So it depends. We'll have to talk about that some more internally. But is there an advantage to people that have it right now, putting it on early access? That would, I guess people can't respond in real time, but
yeah, I can't think of. They're talking right now about an out-of-game spell transfer system, which I'm pretty fascinated by. I would like to hear more about that. Maybe I should pop into the forum and see if there's. It looks like it's Code Glitch and Amulgagar are working on it.
Yeah, and we do want to leverage Steam Workshop also. So it's not to discount any of that, but we think that's super important. So that's really cool. But
yeah, and I don't know what Amulgagar and Code Glitcher using for their underlying tech, but I will mention. I mean, maybe everyone already knows this, but all the GUI that you interact with to build spells is it's web technologies. It's HTML and CSS and JavaScript, and theoretically we can incorporate any web page as a GUI in the game. So it's possible that if the community builds these sort of external tools to do whatever, and I'm sure there's stuff like we can't even think of right now, if they build them as web apps, then they can actually theoretically be kind of linked into the game as mods. Now, a lot of that's like pretty fuzzy. I don't know exactly how it would work, but technologically speaking, we are already rendering a browser inside of CodeSpells, so it's certainly possible to render other web apps as well.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a whole framework that we want to build. During the Kickstarter, we were asked about modding, and we were saying that we don't. It's not really that. I mean, it's kind of the whole game is moddable. The whole game is intended to be more of an engine, honestly. So there's a lot that we have to do to build out that framework, but we should have ways to customize the HUD and all that stuff, which would be really cool.
Yeah, I don't know if we've said this in an update before, but what I have always thought is like the fact that this is a game partially about being a wizard and partially about building other games, it to me is like not two different things. Like I think that if you were a wizard, like if you were on a planet full of wizards, that's what you would do. Like you would make awesome games for yourself and for other people. I mean, it's what we've done on our planet, and we don't have magic. We've been building games since like the dawn of human history. Yeah. So I think it's not as it's not like we're trying to do two different things, like build an engine and make a game about being a wizard. Like I think they're very related.
Yeah.
At least maybe that's just me.
No, I agree. I'm not trying to stand on one of these. That if I was a wizard, I would just run around and jump on rocks all day long. Sorry. But yeah, I think there's any sort of like tools we'll try to link into the game with modding capabilities inside of the game itself, which will be fun to play with once we get farther along.
Cool. Well, I haven't seen any other questions pop up, so let's wrap it up. Again, thank you for everyone who showed up, and we'll be putting this up on YouTube, so if any of your friends missed it, they can catch it later.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Oh, also, one last thing. Sorry. We'll be releasing this tomorrow. I have a couple of things that I want to make sure aren't exploding, but we'll be releasing this to alpha people tomorrow around
on Steam.
Noonish. Yeah. So be prepared for an update. Hopefully it doesn't break anything that you have. But you can yell at me on the forums if it does. So. All right.
All right. Bye,
Thanks,
everyone.
Everybody. Bye.